Deep dives and blue skies. Welcome back to Talking Blue with Nick, the best Dodgers analytical podcast that you can find. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Talking Blue. As you might have just heard, we got a new intro song going, so I hope you guys really like that. It came out pretty good. Today, you are listening to Talking Blue, episode 13. This is the most Dodgers analytical podcast that you could find. Today, we're going to recap the Dodgers and Cubs series that ended last night, 2-game series. We got no Candle going today, which is a real bummer because that is what this series was. A real bummer to watch these 2 games. So we're going to get into those 2 games today. We're going to talk about a few things. Before we get into that, follow us at Talking Blue Pod on all social media. You can get this podcast on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify. Subscribe to the YouTube so you can watch if you prefer that. Got a bunch of shorts that have been coming out that have been doing well, so thank you for that. TikToks, Instagram Reels. Follow us on X at Talking Blue Pod. And get into the conversation on Reddit, competitive-week 8750. Today we're going to talk about the 2 games, of course. Dodgers lose both games in Wrigley. Both high-scoring games, back-and-forth games. Exciting games to watch if you're a fan of baseball. But if you're a fan of the Dodgers, the end result is probably the worst you could have as a fan. Nothing is worse. Whether you're a fan or a player or anyone, nothing's worse than seeing your team take the lead, give it up, take it back, and give it up in the end. It's just so emotionally draining. Thank God these weren't playoff games because I don't think I would be here. But we're going to talk about that. Then after those 2 games, we're going to talk about Max Muncy and his early season struggles, and I'm going to break it all down. What's wrong with him? What's going on? Is he going to get better? Can he get better? Should we be worried? All that. So quickly, before we get into the games, just some injury updates. The biggest one is Blake Snell was supposed to throw a bullpen Wednesday before the Dodgers game. Of course, he did not throw the bullpen, so that's technically a setback. And they're saying he will resume playing catch and kind of will be shut down for now, and they'll look into it more when they get back to LA. So that is, I'm not really sure what to make of that. I'm more on the worried side because if he felt good enough to throw his bullpen, then he would have thrown the bullpen. They are seeming to say it's not too big of a deal. And they're trying to stress to Blake Snell that this is all a long game. We're playing the long game. We want you healthy later in the year, which, of course, makes sense. So maybe Blake Snell is just really excited and wants to get back out there, so he's trying to just do everything as quickly as he can, and the Dodgers are trying to tell him, hey, this is all a long game. We want you for later in the year. Hopefully that's the case. Hopefully this doesn't turn into a thing that keeps dragging out. It's still pretty early. It's only been a couple weeks, so we'll see what happens there. Then the only other thing is Will Smith play at the plate in this series. Tweaked his wrist a little bit. He tweaked his wrist a little bit, tagging a runner out at home plate. So hopefully that's fine. He didn't play in the second game. They said it's not really anything. We'll see if he plays the first 2 games in Pitts against the Pirates this weekend. If he's in there, then that will kind of show that he's fine. If he's not, then that will kind of obviously show that he's not fine and he's maybe turning into something else. So let's go ahead and get right into game 1. Of course, this was 2 games played. First game, Tuesday night, April 21st, Dustin May versus Shota Imanaga. We talked about the Cubs in my previous podcast, the series preview of the Dodgers and the Cubs. The Cubs have had a really good offense to start the year. Most runs scored in baseball, most walks, a lot of doubles. They hit home runs. They kind of have a dream offense right now. We'll see if it continues throughout the year. They come back a lot when they're down, so we'll obviously get into all that. But knew it was going to be a good series and a tough matchup for the Dodgers, the way the Cubs have played this year. But let's get right into game one. Dustin May, Shota Imanaga. Right away in the first inning, of course, Tommy Edman hits a 3-run homer to dead center. I predicted him to go deep in game 2. He goes deep in game 1, so half point for me. I told you that I want to predict them in the actual game. Of course, the Cubs, in the bottom of the first, this is a theme throughout the 2 games, answer right back. Ian Happ starts off the inning with a double. Kyle Tucker singles. Then Seiya Suzuki doubles into left field to make it 3-2. Eventually, Dansby Swanson would triple. Now it's a tie game. Pete Crow Armstrong would double down to left field, a little blooper. That puts the Cubs up 4-3. Then Miguel Amaya, another bloop single, 5-3. So after the Dodgers go up 3-0 in the top of the first, the Cubs answer right back and make it 5-3. It was a little bit of mix of hard contact and some soft contact. Dustin May didn't pitch as horribly as his final line showed, but again, we'll get into that. Second inning, Andy Pages comes up. He hits a solo home run to make it now 5-4 Cubs. So Pages and Edman, my 2 home run predictions for game 2, both go deep in game 1. So nice that I got the homers right and the players right, just in the wrong game. So we'll fast forward. Dodgers down 1 run, 5-4. We'll go all the way ahead to the 5th inning, where Dustin May is still in the game, trying to battle through, keep the Dodgers in. He did somewhat settle in to get through the 5 innings. But after Dansby Swanson walk, Nico Hoerner single, Pete Crow Armstrong, 3-run homer, bomb to right field. So he just murders the Dodgers. Cubs go up 7-4. Dustin May gets through 5 innings. Then later on in the 6th inning, Will Smith homers to left field. So another Dodger that I predicted to go deep. At this point, I've predicted the 3 guys that have gone deep all to go deep. I said in my last pod, bonus was Will Smith because I liked him in the matchups to hit a home run. I just didn't give a specific game prediction because I wasn't sure if he would play the first game, play the second game, play both games. He ended up just playing the first game. So I did get that right. So 3 home runs. I'm looking pretty good so far, the specific players. Now it is a 7-5 game Cubs. We will skip ahead to the 7th inning where things were looking really good. Of course, this just came after Andy Pages made an incredible throw in the 6th inning to end the inning. Anthony Banda came in, fly ball to left field where Andy's playing. Runner tags from third, throws an absolute missile from left field to get a double play to end the inning. Even though he bobbled it, it was just an incredible throw, 97 miles an hour. So a little bit of momentum comes back to the Dodgers side. Then, of course, Andy Pages, who makes the great play, starts off the 7th inning with a single. Ohtani walks, Mookie walks, so it's bases loaded, no outs. Bases loaded. So then Teoscar Hernandez reaches on an error. So another run comes in. So the Dodgers, this inning is looking really good. Freddie Freeman then comes up and slaps a double to left field. Now the Dodgers go up 8-7. So just a crazy back and forth game. Tommy Edman, sac fly to right field. And then Will Smith, another Will Smith moment. He doubles off the wall in left field. So the Dodgers go up 10-7. So they were down 3 runs. Now they go up 3 runs. We'll go ahead to the 8th inning. Alex Vesia comes in after an Ian Happ single. Kyle Tucker homers to right field. Just a little backup slider that Vesia wants back. Tucker crushed it. So now it's a 1-run game. Dodgers get out of that without allowing any more runs. So later on in the 9th inning, Tanner Scott comes in for the save, gets Nico Hoerner to ground out, Pete Crow Armstrong to fly out. Then, of course, Miguel Amaya with 2 outs in the 9th, homers to left center field. Just gets over the wall into the basket. Actually looked like Edman would have caught it if it wasn't for those freaking baskets. But tie game. We go to extra innings. Didn't feel over yet. Felt like if the Dodgers could at least put some runs on the board, they could win the game. They, of course, do not. Will Smith grounds out. Justin Turner made a nice play. Then Max Muncy, I said we'll talk about his struggles later on, strikes out with 1 out and the go-ahead run on third. Then Michael Conforto grounds out. So in the extra inning rules where the ghost runner is on second to start the inning, the Dodgers can't get the run in. I tweeted it out right after this. Felt like that's the ball game, and of course it was, because later on, Noah Davis would come in to make his Dodger debut, throws 1 pitch, first pitch of the 10th inning. Ian Happ singles to right field. The winning run comes in to score, so the Cubs win. Final score is 11-10, a crazy back and forth game. They walk it off the Dodgers. They walk off the Dodgers. We'll get into the pitchers. Dustin May for 5, Anthony Banda for 1, Luis Garcia for 1, Alex Vesia for 2/3 of an inning, Kirby Yates for 1, Tanner Scott for 1, then Noah Davis, like I said, threw the 1 pitch. So the Dodgers, like I say, lose 11-10, get walked off. Really disappointing game in the end. So we'll talk about Dustin May quickly. Dustin May's final line, 5 innings pitched, 10 hits, 7 earned runs. He had 3 walks, did have 5 strikeouts, and obviously gets the didn't get the loss, but because the Dodgers were able to come back, but gave up 7 earned runs. Worst game that he's thrown all year, coming off the best game he's thrown all year. I believe that's the most earned runs he's given up in a game in his career. So, like I mentioned, Ian Happ doubled down the right field line. That was off a sinker. Kyle Tucker singles. That was off a sinker. Seiya Suzuki doubles. That was off a sinker. So the first 3 hits Dustin May gave up was off a sinker. And it's interesting. You always hear pitchers say when it comes to approaching a lineup and approaching hitters, should they go with their strength or the hitter's weakness? Meaning, if your best pitch is a high fastball, but you're facing Juan Soto, who's the best high fastball hitter in the game, do you say, well, my best pitch is a high fastball, so I don't care? Or do you say, well, he hits high fastballs really well, so I'm going to go with his weakness, and maybe it's a changeup or something like that. So Dustin May, of course, his most often used pitch is a sinker. He went into the game with a lot of sinkers instead of trying to stay away from that, and he paid for it with the first 3 batters. Then the rest of the hits that he gave up were not off sinkers. They were off sweepers and 4-seamers and some cutters. So maybe he said, okay, I can't throw sinkers now. So he threw 95 pitches. I did say that he would throw more sweepers than sinkers, and it was by a wide margin. He threw 47 sweepers as the most used pitch. The next most were 22 sinkers. A 49% usage on the sweeper, 23% on the sinker, 21 on the 4-seamer. So he did exactly what I said he would. He would use the sweeper more than any other pitch. He did use a good amount of 4-seamers. He actually did get decent whiffs in this game. 5 on the sweeper, 1 on the sinker, 2 on the 4-seamer, 1 on the cutter. So he had 9 whiffs in the game. The final line is not indicative of how Dustin May pitched. There were a lot of bloopers, a lot of balls that dropped in. But he definitely didn't have his best stuff. He wasn't always able to get the sweeper over for a strike or around the zone to get a swing and a miss. The sinker early on got hammered hard. Overall, just not a great performance by Dustin May. He got hammered. It's rarely happens throughout his career. We know he struggled with injuries and stuff like that. He struggled at times to get swing and miss, but he's never really been a pitcher who gets hammered or gets hit hard or anything like that. So just going to chalk it up to sometimes you get hit hard. The Cubs have a really good offense. They had a lot of guys who matched up well with Dustin May. They hit him pretty well. So Dustin May I have no issues with. I don't think anything's wrong with him. Sometimes it happens. Cubs just hit him hard. He just left too many pitches down the middle in the heart of the plate. It's going to happen. I think Dustin May will be fine in his next start. So then we'll just go to some of the bullpen. Some guys, it's kind of interesting because some guys held their own and then some guys obviously gave it up. Anthony Banda came in and was able to get saved by that Pages throw. But then Luis Garcia came in and struck out the side and didn't allow any runs, so he looked really good. Vesia, again, gave up the home run to Kyle Tucker. That was one of the worst performances he's had so far. Again, he's been really great on the year, so I'm not going to kill Alex Vesia, but you could see him kind of falling behind a little bit. It's just one of those outings where he's kind of chasing his tail the whole time, and then in the end, Kyle Tucker dropped the hammer on him. Tanner Scott continues to not get a ton of swing and miss. He's still kind of battling through it right now. His ERA is down to 2.77 on the year, but gives up the home run to Miguel Amaya. I did see that it would have been a home run in only one park, and that was Wrigley, I think, or not many parks. So as a closer, you are judged by getting those last 3 outs, and he didn't get the last 3 outs. He gave up the homer. Homers are going to kill you when you're a closer. So it's just really unfortunate. It was a really rough game to watch. When the game ended, I tweeted out that was the most painful game of the year so far. Again, if you're a baseball fan, if you're a Cubs fan, like, it's a fun game to watch, a back and forth game. It just really is unfortunate when your team loses because there's so much that goes into the game. You fall down, you go ahead early, the Cubs come back and take the lead. Then the Dodgers come back, big comeback, take the lead. The Cubs come back and win the game. So it's just kind of frustrating, especially because the offense has been up and down to start the year. And they showed up in this game and in this series. They just weren't able to hold it down with the bullpen and with the pitching staff. So that's it with game one. I predicted those 3 home runs. I predicted Will Smith's home run. The other 2 I predicted for game 2. They went deep in game 1. We'll talk about some other guys with the home run prediction. So let's go ahead and go to game 2. So we didn't know who was going to pitch this game when I made my preview podcast. It ends up being Ben Kasparius who gets the start. So, of course, he's not built up to go very deep. So, he's not going to go deep. Pretty much is a bullpen game. But, Kasparius is going to give you at least a little bit of length. So, another back-and-forth game. So, let's get into it. Later on in the 3rd inning, Michael Conforto led off the inning with a walk. Austin Barnes singles. Ohtani bloop single. Mookie Betts then lined out. But then Teoscar Hernandez comes up, 2 outs. 2-run single to left field, so a clutch hit from Teoscar Hernandez. He continues to murder left-handed pitching and get a lot of big 2-out hits. So the Dodgers go up 2-0 in the 3rd inning. Then Ben Kasparius would pitch to the first 2 batters. So he goes 2 2/3. Then Anthony Banda comes in. The Dodgers just wanted Kasparius to get through the lineup one time, so then they go to Anthony Banda. So then we'll fast forward to the bottom of the 4th inning. The Dodgers have a 2-0 lead. Noah Davis comes in to replace Anthony Banda. So now he comes in to pitch for, hopefully, they're hopeful for more than one batter. He immediately gives up a single to Dansby Swanson, a Nico Horner walk, and then Pete Crow Armstrong, once again, the Dodgers' nemesis, home run to left center field. So the Cubs immediately go up 3-2, jump on top of the Dodgers right away, which is what they've done all series long. Later on, Miguel Rojas would start off the 5th with a single. Austin Barnes would reach on an error by the pitcher Matthew Boyd. Shohei flies out, but then Mookie Betts doubles into the left field corner to tie the game up. Right after that, Teoscar Hernandez homers to left field to put the Dodgers up 5-3. So Teoscar homers, who I predicted to go deep in game 1. So predicting a lot of the homers, they're just in the opposite games. So Dodgers go up 5-3. Jack Dreyer comes in the bottom of the 5th. And, of course, Kyle Tucker walks, Justin Turner walks, Michael Busch walks. Then Dansby Swanson singles up the middle to tie up the game. Nico Horner would hit a sac fly to make it 6-5. Then Pete Crow Armstrong singles up the middle. So the Cubs go up 7-5. So immediately the Dodgers take the lead and the Cubs answer right back. 7-5. Go ahead to the 6th inning. Anthony Paez homers to left field. So this was one of my predictions that I did get it right exactly. I predicted Paez to go deep in game 2. He homers in both games, so I am right about that prediction. So now it's a 7-6 lead. That lead would hold for the rest of the game. Dodgers would eventually lose by a final score of 7-6. So the Cubs continued to answer back, and it led to 2 wins in this series. Like I said, final score 7-6 Cubs. Really quickly, Ben Kasparius for 2.2, Anthony Banda for 2/3, Noah Davis for 2/3, Jack Dreyer for 1 inning, Kirby Yates for 1, Evan Phillips for 1, Luis Garcia for 1. Matthew Boyd gets the win. He went 6 innings, did give up 10 hits and 3 earned runs, but he did enough to win the game for the Cubs. Really, again, it was the Cubs offense. So, really quickly, I just wanted to give some credit to Ben Kasparius, 2 2/3, no earned runs. Also had 4 strikeouts, and he only gave up 1 hit, which was a double. So in this game, he did his job and did what he could to start it off for the bullpen. Then Anthony Banda got through his portion that he pitched in. But then, of course, Noah Davis gives up the 3-run homer. Jack Dreyer struggled in this game, obviously gave up the 4 runs. Really the only bad appearance, the first bad appearance he's had in his young career so far. Again, not going to kill Jack Dreyer. He's been really, really good. Just didn't have the swing and miss in this game, in this outing. Couldn't get any strikeouts. Also had 3 walks, so kind of just imploded on him there. So he, of course, gets the loss. So another game where the Dodgers battled back offensively, but just weren't able to do enough in the end with the pitching staff. Teoscar Hernandez, just wanted to mention him. He played really well in this series. And I just wanted to note he's crushing left-handed pitching. I mentioned it in my previous pod how the Dodgers are always a team that hits lefties well. Last year in 2024, they had the highest weighted runs created plus against left-handed pitching as a team. Right now, they're in the low teens or in the 20s or something like that. They're not hitting well. But one guy that is Teoscar Hernandez, which is what he's done throughout his entire career. He's got his WRC plus on the year is 124. He's got 6 homers. Anthony Paz had the 2 homers in this series, played really well, made the good throw. Continues to, or gets back on track when it comes to hitting left-handed pitching, which is really good. You want to see Paz perform well against lefties, especially with Michael Conforto, who they're really using against right-handers, so that can kind of become some kind of platoon. And Conforto's struggled, and he continued to struggle in the series. That's good to see that Paz has hit left-handers really well in this series because that's what you really want from him. And Teoscar has continued to do that. So that's pretty much it from the offense. Again, throughout the series, they were really good. Hit a lot of home runs, but weren't too home run reliant. Like I said, in this game, in the second game, Mookie had 3 hits. Teoscar had 2 hits. Paz had a hit, which was the homer. So, Austin Barnes had 2 hits. He, of course, got picked off in this game, which is really frustrating. So, not just bats showed up in this series. It's just that the pitching staff and the bullpen couldn't hold the lead. And you got to give a lot of credit to the Cubs. They, like I said earlier, kind of have a dream offense right now where they walk a lot. They don't strike out a lot. They are putting the ball in play. They hit home runs. And the most important thing is that they don't seem out of the game. They answer back right away. That's amazing. If you're a fan watching the game, you just know your team's going to answer back right away. Of course, that won't continue throughout the whole year. And we'll see if the Cubs are going to remain one of the better teams in baseball all year. But they've played the Dodgers incredibly so far. So a lot of credit to the Cubs and their offense, just keeping them in the game no matter what the Dodgers are doing. And it is a positive that the Dodgers offense was pretty good in this series, spread out like I've talked about before. Don't want to be too home run reliant. Of course, they did hit home runs, but Freddie Freeman had some hits, Mookie, Will Smith, Teoscar. So they did have guys getting hits and getting on base, not being too home run reliant. So we're going to get into Max Muncy and all of his struggles early on in the 2025 season. So the reason I wanted to do this was because I've seen a lot of talk on X and a lot of people talking about Max Muncy. A lot of people don't want him on the Dodgers anymore. A lot of people want Alex Freeland, who is a minor leaguer in AAA, who plays shortstop and third base, who's been hitting really well. They want him called up. They want the Dodgers to trade for Nolan Arenado. They want something different. I just wanted to say this. There's no question Max Muncy has been really bad to start the year so far. He's been probably the worst Dodgers hitter so far, or at least he's the worst of the starters. He's struggled mightily. Probably got off to the worst start of his career so far since he's been with the Dodgers. In 2022, he did get off to a bad start and kind of struggled that year. That was the year where Max Muncy was coming off the injury he had. 2021 was arguably the best season of his career. On the very last day of this season, he hurts his elbow, collision at first base, didn't play throughout the playoffs, had basically Tommy John on his non-throwing arm. Then he came back in 2022 and struggled throughout the year. He did put up a above average season in terms of hitting, but it was not a season that we're used to seeing from Max Muncy. He had a OPS plus in 2021 or 2022 of 106, so he was barely above league average. Normally, Max Muncy's in the 130s, 120s, something like that. So why is Max Muncy struggling? So Max Muncy throughout his career has always really been a 3 true outcome kind of hitter. If you don't know what that means, that's a term or a saying that's become popular in the last decade. A lot of hitters either strike out, walk, or hit a home run. 3 true outcomes. A lot of that is because of your approach and the way that a lot of hitters hit nowadays, where they are trying to hit the ball in the air, pull the ball, hit extra base hits, doubles, and home runs. And because of that, they don't care about striking out or swinging and miss as much. I don't want to say don't care, but they know their approach, trying to hit the ball in the air, trying to lift the ball, stuff like that, is going to lead to more swing and miss. And that leads to a lot of strikeouts, but a lot of home runs. And then if you're a kind of hitter like Max Muncy who has really good plate discipline, you're going to walk a lot too. So 3 true outcomes. So Max Muncy's never been a guy who puts up a lot of those sexy stat lines. His batting average. 2018, he had 260. 2019, 250. 2020, the shortened year, he had 192. 2021, which might have been his best year, he had 249. 2022, he struggled, 196. 2023, he had 36 home runs that year, and he had an 800 OPS. He had a batting average of 212. Last year, he was injured, but he in the games he did play, he did hit really well, 232. Right now, his average is at 178, which is obviously too low. So he's never been a guy who hits for a lot of batting average, high batting average, but he's always had really good on-base numbers, hits a lot of home runs, a very typical cleanup hitter, middle of the bat hitter in today's world. So that is Max Muncy's approach. It is also to see a lot of pitches. He's been one of the best players throughout his career when it comes to controlling the strike zone. Incredible at not chasing. Really, the only guy who's been better than him throughout his career is Juan Soto, who's like the best all time at that. Max Muncy's always been incredible when it comes to not chasing, taking pitches out of the zone, walking a lot. He's always up there in walk percentage and total walks every year. So why has Max Muncy struggled this year? What is going on with Max Muncy? Because if you look at his Baseball Savant page, which gets into a lot of the metrics, which gets into a lot of the results in terms of exit velocity, launch angle, stuff like that. And you've heard me talk a lot about expected numbers and stuff like that. So like I said, Max Muncy's hitting 178 right now. His expected batting average is 223, which again, I know is not great, but I've read a lot of his averages throughout his career. That is somewhat on par with what he has had throughout his career. He is slugging right now 247. His expected slug is 443. And again, to put that in perspective, his slugging percentage in 2024 was 493. Right now, his expected slug is 443. So, Max Muncy has been very unlucky to start the season. He's had a lot of balls that he's barreled up and hit out to the outfield that have been caught. There were a couple in Texas where that's a big ballpark. And there were some other balls that he's hit hard, that he hit into the ground. And he's been very unlucky. And right now he's in the 79th percentile in barrel percentage, 75th percentile in hard hit rate. He's in the 94th percentile in launch angle sweet spot percentage. He's in the 76th percentile in chase percentage, in the 73rd percentile in walk percentage. He's still hitting the ball hard, barreling the ball up. He's not chasing that often, and he's still walking. So what's been the issue with Max Muncy? Well, the issue with Max Muncy has been hitting the ball on the ground more. Now, I'm not going to get into a whole debate of should hitters try to hit the ball on the ground, try to hit the ball in the air. That's always a debate with hitting coaches, old school, new school, stuff like that. So let's look at this. In 2024, Max Muncy had a ground ball percentage of 25%. Right now, in 2025, he has a ground ball percentage of 36%. So he's hitting the ball on the ground way more. In 2024, he had a fly ball percentage of 43%. In 2025, it is 32%. So a 10% decrease in the times he's hitting the ball in the air. So right now, one of the issues for Max Muncy is that he's hitting the ball on the ground way more than he is in the air. And as a guy who pulls the ball, hits the ball hard, has great plate discipline, and is trying to get on base and slug, hitting the ball on the ground is not going to work for you, especially when you're not fast or anything like that. So what he needs to get back to is lifting the ball more and hitting the ball in the air more. He's hitting the ball hard. He's just hitting it on the ground way more than he ever has. Now, I just also wanted to note, he is swinging and missing a lot as well. So that is not very good. Right now he has a K percent of 36%. Last year it was 26. 2023 was 26. So right now, his K percentage is usually in the mid or low 20% range. Right now it's 36. So he's striking out way too much, and he's striking out more than he used to. His walk percentage has come down a little bit. It's not bad or anything like that. He normally walks around 14 to 15% of the time. Right now his walk percentage is 11.8. So definitely a decrease there, but 11% is still a good walk rate. But if you look, like I said, 2024, he had a hard hit rate of 43.4. Right now it's at 48.8. So he's actually hitting the ball at a harder percentage than he was in 2024, where he had a really good year. And I was talking about his ground ball earlier numbers and his whiff numbers. So his overall whiff percentage, so his overall just swing and miss numbers on the year so far, are on par with what he's had throughout his career. He normally, in 2024, he had a 31% whiff rate. Right now it's at 30.9. 2023, he had a 29% whiff rate. So from what he's done lately throughout his career, the last few years, where he's hit a lot of home runs and had really good years, he's still swinging and missing at the same kind of rate. He is still not chasing very much. The chase has gone up a little bit this year, 20% in 2024, 23% in 2025. But for the most part, Max Muncy is whiffing it's not like he's whiffing at a much higher rate. He is striking out at a much higher rate. So he's struggling with 2 strikes more than he has before. But on his individual pitches so far, he's got a batting average of 238 against 4-seamers and an expecting batting average of 232. He's normally a good fastball hitter. He's also strangely been an incredible sinker hitter throughout his career. He has an expected batting average of 416 on sinkers this year, 2024. He had an expected batting average of 321 on sinkers, 2023. He had an expected batting average of 339 on sinkers. That's really the only pitch he's hit well so far this year. And a big issue has been the breaking balls. He's got a 38% whiff rate on sliders and a 30% whiff rate on curveballs. And he's also got a 55% whiff rate on changeups. So a lot of the breaking balls and off-speed pitches he is really struggling with right now. That's on par with what he's done a lot throughout his career. He's never been a great breaking ball hitter, sliders and curveballs. He's always been a really good fastball hitter. Right now, he's not hitting too great against the fastball, but it is the best pitch he's hit other than sinkers. So Max Muncy, what he needs to get back to is hitting the ball in the air more often. Because of his approach, it really doesn't make much sense to hit the ball on the ground. I'm not sure if I saw this in an interview or if I saw this on X or where I saw this, so don't quote me. But it might have even been on the broadcast with Joe Davis. Max Muncy this offseason tried to hit the ball on the ground more often, and that was something that he tried to do in his offseason workout. Try to hit the ball on the ground more often, less fly balls. And right now he's having a horrible start to the year, so I don't know if that's a result or a reason why he has struggled, but I do know in the games he's hitting the ball on the ground way more often, and that is part of the reason why he's struggling so far. And again, I just want to look at some numbers. He's got a batting average of 178. It's expected 223. He's got a slugging percentage right now of 247. His expected slug is 443. He's got a WOBA, which is weighted on base average, of 249. His expected WOBA, 334. His hard hit rate is higher than it was last year. His barrel percentage is higher than it was last year. He is just hitting the ball on the ground way too often right now.
and he's striking out way too often. If he can cut down on the strikeouts a little bit, it doesn't have to be an insane amount. He's going to be a guy that strikes out because of his approach. That's just going to happen. If he can cut down on the strikeouts a little bit, and if he can hit the ball in the air more, we're going to see the Max Muncy of old, or at least a better version of Max Muncy. Again, in this loaded lineup, Max Muncy doesn't need to have an 850 OPS. But hitting in the 5th, 6th, or 7th spot, if Max Muncy can put up a 780, 785, 790 OPS, something like that, even 770, 77, like you'll take that. But what he's doing right now is not acceptable, and it's going to play him into a platoon with Kike Hernandez. It's going to lead to some uncomfortable conversations come the trade deadline. But in this world, we live in a very reactive world where everybody has seen Max Muncy this year struggle, and they don't want to see him anymore. And I just want to come out and say this. I don't believe in making a stance or taking a stance and you got to live or die on that hill. I don't think if Max Muncy continues to struggle and come the trade deadline, they try to make a move or something like that, I'll be on board. But I just want to say this. I believe in Max Muncy. I believe he can and will turn this around. Because of a lot of these expected numbers, those lead me to believe he will be better. Now, again, it doesn't mean it's a lock. I don't think that if he plays like this all year, that the Dodgers, like a lot of people, there are people who have mixed reviews on Chris Taylor. And I'm not one of these people who think, well, because of what they've done throughout their Dodger career, they've had a lot of big moments that you got to just keep them forever. When the Dodgers moved on from Justin Turner, it was time to move on. He was getting a little bit older. The Dodgers, I've thought for a couple years now, should have moved on from Chris Taylor. The offense has just continued to plummet, and I don't think they should keep him around. I don't think that's the case with Max Muncy. I don't think that the Dodgers need to get rid of him or anything like that. I think the Dodger fans need to be a little bit more patient with Max Muncy. Remember his approach, like I said, he's going to strike out, but he's going to walk a lot, not going to chase a lot. He just needs to cut down on the strikeouts right now. He needs to get a little bit better with 2 strikes. But most importantly, he's got to hit the ball in the air. He's hitting the ball on the ground way too much, more than he ever has in his Dodger tenure. And that is leading to a lot of the bad numbers. He's still hitting the ball hard. He's been a little bit unlucky. He just needs to lift the ball right now. So that's going to close up Max Muncy. Like I said, I believe in Max Muncy, and I think he will turn this around. I don't think they need to call up Alex Freeland. I don't think they need to trade for Nolan Arenado. I think they have the right guy at third base for this team and for this lineup. He's going to get better, and I believe in Max Muncy. So that's going to wrap up this podcast, Talking Blue, episode 13. It's going to wrap up the recap. Thank you for listening. Like I've said before, you can get this podcast on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify. Watch it on YouTube. I hope you guys enjoy the new intro song that we made. Follow us at Talking Blue Pod on all social media. TikToks, a lot of videos on there. The YouTube Shorts, like I said. Instagram Reels. Follow my personal X at Talking Blue Nick. I've been tweeting out a lot of stuff on there. Follow us and get into the conversation on Reddit, competitive-week 8715. A lot of stuff on there. Thank you for listening. Like I said, on the Dodgers-Pirates series upcoming, the Dodgers will be taking on the Pirates this weekend, so that's going to be really exciting to see. We'll see you guys then. Thank you for listening.